Oklahoma. What's happening in Norman? Well, I'll tell you what's happening. A 4-0 team, 16-13. They beat West Virginia yesterday. Stop torturing yourselves. Stop that. You're holding yourselves to a standard that you developed based on preseason culture and preseason magazine, preview magazine culture, and you are not that right now. The Oklahoma Sooners are not what preview magazine season told you they would be. Spencer Rattler is not what preview magazine season told you he would be. It's okay. I mean, it's still 4-0. Again, could be a lot worse out there. Now, are they perfect? No. I got 47 flaws I can point out right now. They cannot run the ball. 2 yards per carry last night. Offensive line, well below Oklahoma standards. You got the student section asking for the backup quarterback in less than friendly terms to be inserted. Let me address that, by the way. If you didn't see it last night, it was crazy. Hats off to the crew there at ABC. I think Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit just flat out said, in case you guys can't hear this, they're chanting, "We want Caleb Williams." Caleb Williams was the top quarterback in the country last year. He is the backup, as of this hour, to Spencer Rattler, your preseason Heisman favorite. Yours, not mine. We didn't necessarily like that all that much here. What do I think about the fans booing? I got asked that a lot. What did I think about the fans chanting for Caleb Williams? Well, a couple of things can be true, to be honest with you. And I'm not endorsing the first thing that's about to come out of my mouth. Please understand. It's just theoretically these two things could be true. It could be true that Caleb Williams gives you a better chance to win. I don't think that, because if I did, I think Lincoln Riley would have him in the game. But just, I'll humor you. That could be true. It still, under no circumstance, makes it acceptable or even smart to chant it at a home game. Do you understand you have recruits in the building? This was a big recruiting weekend for Oklahoma. Me and Wilfong spent like 10 minutes talking about this on Whip Around last week. Do you know what I would do to this morning if I were a rival coach and I was recruiting against Oklahoma? I would say, hey, at one time, Spencer Rattler was you. He was sitting in those stands. They were wooing him. All those fans wanted him there. They're 4-0. And look they're treating him like trash. Do you want to go there? We never do that. You can go watch all our tape. Our fans have never chanted for backups. They never booed our players. And in most cases, that's true. Like, what are you guys doing? I understand the frustration. I have told you, I think Rattler is overhyped as a quarterback. I don't think the guy is an alpha leader by any stretch of the imagination. We have been very blunt about our assessment of Spencer Rattler. Having said that, it's ludicrous to handle it like that. It's just stupid. It's stupid to do it. You don't help anything. I can tell you right now, Lincoln Riley probably takes a step back and is less inclined to put the backup in. The last thing any head coach wants is an announcer to say, well, the fans chanted for it, and now Lincoln has given it to him. Here comes Caleb Williams. The second Caleb Williams gives Oklahoma the best chance to win a football game will be the second you see Caleb Williams in the football game. What you don't want is a Graham Mertz 2.0 where you got Caleb Williams in there. He's showing you flashes. Oh, there's an interception. Showing you more flashes, a couple of more turnovers. Because guess what you can't do after that? You can't turn back to Spencer Rattler. He's probably long since thrown up the deuces. He's gone. Can't do that. So let's just be careful here. Still 4-0. You never know. With teams as talented as Oklahoma, stranger things have happened in the past. You could find a groove. You could find another gear. They got Texas in 2 weeks, by the way. Could very well be a Renaissance Tour destination. Texas, speaking of the Horns, did they stop scoring yet? 70-35 was the final yesterday. Texas over Texas Tech. The big question is, can the Red Raiders play defense? I'm happy to report we have an answer. Nope, they cannot. These stats are impressive, depending on one perspective, or alarming, depending on the other. Casey Thompson has led Texas to points on 20 of his last 23 drives. That includes 19 touchdowns in his last 23 drives. Now, it was against Food, Rice, and Texas Tech. I don't care if you did it against Air. That's pretty impressive. That was by Chip Brown, by the way. He looked that up. I did not look that up today. I didn't have time. Over at Horns 24/7. So, yes, in Casey we trust. Certainly that's the mood tracker. We have not updated it out in Austin. They have not attempted a punt in like 2 weeks. They didn't even attempt to punt yesterday. 336 yards on the ground, too. This was not a whole bunch of points where it's just bomb away, bomb away, bomb away. They did enough of that. They could have run all the way to Lubbock if they wanted to yesterday. Texas is a 4-point favorite this week against Texas Christian. TCU's in a bad way. They lost on rest yesterday at the hands of SMU, the old skillet game out there. Texas is either going to win that thing by 3 touchdowns or get upset this week. And I'm not quite sure which one it is, but that 4 I don't think will be a consequential number. I think it's just kind of an aggregation of all the model runs. But, yeah, it's going to be a wild variation in final out there. But Texas, 2 weeks away from Red River, and they are squarely in the Big 12 championship race, obviously. They got TCU Saturday. Baylor beat a team from Ames, Iowa, that I used to call Iowa State, but I don't recognize the play as of late. Am I upset about it? Yeah, very upset about it. Because I keep looking, and I keep saying, well, let's see. Iowa State, 469 to 282, outgained them big time. Iowa State, let's see, 263 through the air, 216 on the ground, really good day. Uh-oh, special teams issues again. Uh-oh, coverage unit bad again. This was what cost Iowa State down the stretch last year in the Big 12 championship game. It cost them, and it cost them again. And now Baylor beats them 31-29. Iowa State, we're not even talking postseason at this point. It is important to note that the Big 12 could end up being a mess. Baylor is 4-0, so Baylor is obviously still perfect. I think that when you have one conference loss, obviously you still consider yourself in that conference race. I don't know that anyone's going undefeated out here. I don't know that for the conference purposes, you're going to have a situation where it's very clear-cut until the very end. And so hang on. Just hang on for one more. Wilson Phillips. We got to go Wilson Phillips mode. That's the new mood tracker. Hold on for one more day at Iowa State or one more game. But in the meantime, some higher levels of execution would be nice. Georgia Tech, happy times. Happy times on the flats. Georgia Tech 45, North Carolina 22. We do have a padlock stat in this game. And here it is. The padlock stat is North Carolina had 1.8 yards per carry yesterday. That's not going to get it done. Now, that's disappointing because we looked at their run game at the beginning of the year, and I thought with the additions they made in the portal, Ty Chandler and whatnot, I thought they would be able to perform a lot better than they have. They haven't. But there is good news on the other side, and that is Jeff Sims. Welcome back, Jeff Sims. How about 10 of 13 through the air, 112 yards, 10 runs for 128 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Jeff Sims, once again, QB1 there at Georgia Tech. The turn did not happen this week. I was talking to some people with Georgia Tech this past week, and it was about that very thing. They were coming off, remember, the close loss against Clemson. And no one's ready to acknowledge that you've turned a corner until you win a game. Well, there was a feeling there that they'd already turned the corner. They happened to lose a game last week, but they have seen some of those internal telltale signs that make them believe they've turned a corner. I share that opinion. I'm not sitting here telling you, watch out, they'll probably meet you in Charlotte in a couple of months, but I am telling you, whatever the low point was for Georgia Tech football, I think it's in the rearview mirror. And I think that as a program, they are trending up now. This is a huge win for them, a huge win. It is a build-on win. And so congratulations to Jeff Collins and company. I don't think they're done making noise this season. Michigan won one of the more boring games in the history of college football yesterday. 20-13 was the final. Classic survive and advance mode. That's about all you can say about it. However, if you told me Michigan was only going to have 112 yards on the ground, I would have thought upset. And it was 20-13. The spread here was nearly 3 touchdowns. So Rutgers did cover. They outscored Michigan 10-zip in the second half, and yet still Michigan found a way. So I'll credit them for that. If anything, it makes me respect Rutgers a little bit more. But this week, Rutgers welcomes in Ohio State. And they got a shot there, obviously. I mean, they got a shot to do something that you don't expect them to do. But Michigan, undefeated Michigan, this doesn't make sense to a lot of you. Michigan is going to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's favored in the game. And again, I think a lot of folks are going to jump on Michigan. That's fine. Just be careful. Turnovers are not always forward-thinking in nature. So just be careful there. The last two I wanted to hit on, Michigan State beat Nebraska. A lot of you may not care about this, 23-20 in overtime. This is a very big win because it was such a huge letdown spot for a program that's not established yet. Michigan State just thrashed Miami last week. So this is a game that you would expect a less experienced, less together established product to come home and flop in. And they didn't play perfectly by any stretch, but the line was only 5 on the game. And Michigan State ends up winning 23-20 in overtime. A huge loss on paper. This is a game they absolutely should lose. Listen to this. 28-12, they lost the first down edge. They were outgained by nearly 200, but they had a punt return late. The hidden yardage factor came into play, and then they won the game. They, the Michigan State Spartans, are still perfect. And lastly, I don't have much to say about it, but Oregon State thrashed Southern Cal yesterday, and I had like 3 or 4 of you ask me to talk about that. Congratulations to Oregon State. Congratulations to the Beavers for thoroughly dismantling Southern Cal. I've spoken my piece on that game.